Hello, and welcome to the walkthrough video for the Working Systemically online survey. My name is Brian Lidke, and I work in SEDL's Communications Office. The Working Systemically approach is a process for school improvement. And to assist in collecting data to help inform school improvement efforts, SEDL is offering free access to the Working Systemically online survey. The survey itself is a data collection instrument that allows the survey coordinator to set up and deploy a 34-question survey to gather data from teachers, administrators, and other school stakeholders regarding the principles of working systemically, such as the use of data, communicating priorities, access to materials, and professional development, among others. To access the survey as a survey coordinator to deploy it in your district, all you have to do is sign up for a free survey coordinator account. I'm here on the Working Systemically online survey page on SEDL's site, and I'm going to click on the Register for a Survey Coordinator account. Just put in your email address, select a password, and when you click register, you'll get some feedback that an email has been sent to your address with a link allowing you to log on to the site to confirm your registration. So next, if you checked your email address, you would see an email like this one that says an email was triggered by someone registering for a new survey coordinator account on SEDL's Working Systemically survey site. Click on the link below to automatically log on to the coordinator site to confirm and complete your registration. So when I click that link, it automatically logs me on to the survey coordination site, and at this point, if I wanted to, I could change my password. It's giving me a little bit of feedback about how I've used the site so far. So far, I haven't set up any cohorts to use the Working Systemically content area survey, and I don't have any individual survey completions on file yet. There's some information about who you can contact for assistance, as well as a link to further directions. If I click on this link, it's going to expand on this page and take me through the steps that are needed to set up a Working Systemically survey for me to deploy. Basically, those steps include setting up a new cohort, which includes several elements such as the cohort name, the content area that's being surveyed, maybe some welcome and thank you text that goes at the top and the bottom of the survey, and as well as options for notifying me by email when people complete the survey. Second, we'll define one or more subgroups. This is an optional step, but it allows you to define a subgroup that will let you view the data in different dimensions. So for instance, if I implemented the Working Systemically survey within a district, I could set up subgroups for schools, for instance, so that I could view the data for the entire district or individually by schools. Third, I could set up an email invitation to send to users to take the survey, and fourth, we would be viewing reports. So I'm going to take us through the first step right now, setting up a new cohort. I'll hide these directions real quick. So to add a new cohort, simply click the Add a New Cohort button, and the name of the cohort in this particular instance will be Test District, and maybe we'll put a date on it. November 2009. One reason to put a date along with the cohort name is you may implement this survey with the same group several times, and you'll probably want to know which ones were implemented before or after a survey. This cohort name is only seen by you on the administration site, so this is just for your own reference. A password is automatically generated for the cohort, and they'll need to use that password when they log on to the survey, and thus it's randomized and we make sure that it's not in use by anyone else. Below that on this instructions page, we see some sample text that you could use in an email to someone to invite them to take the Working Systemically survey online. It's a little boilerplate introduction, a link to where they'll log on to the survey, as well as the password. And below that, we see a little tip that Another option is that you could customize a link in your email so that when people click on it, it automatically logs them onto the survey and they don't have to type in the password. So if you included this link in an email, as soon as they clicked on, they would be in the survey. So moving on with the options for setting up this particular cohort, we select a content area for the survey, and that's one of the subject areas such as math, reading, science, social studies, or you can specify a generic, and this one will make mathematics. There's introductory text that you can specify to show up at the beginning of the survey, and this could be anything that makes sense in your context for the invitation that you're sending out to people. I'll just enter a short one there. So you could customize that text to whatever you would like. Also, you could be implementing this particular survey in multiple states. It asks a question at the beginning of the survey to indicate what state you belong to. So if you were implementing this across many states, you might have a pull-down menu that included several states, or if you're just implementing it in one state, you would just include one option. And this is a semicolon separated list, and basically the semicolons are a way for the system to know to make a pull down menu and to make a separate option whenever it sees a semicolon. Next, you can input options for a custom district pull down menu where people will indicate what district they belong to, and next, there will be a question that asks them to indicate what campus they belong to. And so I've included a list of the campuses that would show up in this custom menu. Obviously, you would customize these to be the campuses and districts that are related to your needs. There are some other options. If you wanted to, you could have a web page address that you redirect the person to after they complete the survey. You can also select whether or not you want an email to be received whenever someone completes a survey, and if you chose that, then you would need to put an email address there. And the last option is to specify a date to stop collecting data for this particular cohort. And you might want to do that in order to make sure that at the time you produce the final report for your data collection, that you don't get additional data that comes in after that and get a mismatch between the data that's in the system versus what was in your report. So if I click to submit, it saves that information under my cohort. So we're back here at the top page again, and now we can see the cohort that we have on file. We could click Edit Settings to get back to the page I was just on in case we need to change anything. There's a password listed, and if I click that, it'll take me to the survey so I can see what the survey looks like in its customized form. We see that this is for the content area mathematics that we selected. Over to the right, we see some reporting options, and at this point, we don't have any participants that have completed the survey yet, so the cohort report's not available. There's 0 individual reports, and there are no subgroup reports available. Now, what we could do is set up subgroups that will allow us to view the data for this test district along different dimensions. So if we went to the Setup Subgroups page, it will have some instructions on why to use subgroups and how to set them up. And then at the bottom of the page is a link where you can add a new subgroup. So if I wanted to add a subgroup and I wanted to, once again, add subgroups that would allow me to differentiate data based on the campuses that were entered, I could do that, and as I add each of these subgroups, they show up at the bottom of the page. Now, you could specify different subgroups also. You could do this, set up a subgroup for a number of years teaching experience and things like that. In this particular example, I'm just going to set up a few subgroups for each of the campuses. And while we indicated earlier some other, we indicated the campuses when we set up the cohort, That information is represented in the cohort report, but setting up these additional subgroups by campus will actually let us filter the data to only show data reports by particular campuses if we wanted to. So after we've added our subgroups, we could click here at the top of the page to get back to the top level of the survey instrument. So at this point, I'm going to log out of this account and log into an account that's actually got data collected so that I can show you exactly how someone would read the reports. Before I do that, I'll go ahead and click here to show you what the survey, the customized survey, looks like. So what we see at the top is the introductory text that I customized when I set up the cohort, as well as the state, district, and school lists that I set up when I customized that cohort. Below that, the survey asks some demographic questions about whether the participant is a teacher or an administrator, what subject they teach if they're a teacher. If they're an administrator, it blocks those subject area questions out, but if they're a teacher, it asks them to indicate what subject they're teaching, how long they've worked in the district, and how long they've worked in the school. Here, under the demographics, we see that customized subgroup question that I mentioned, and at this point, the participant would begin to fill out the survey, answering each of the 24 questions, indicating whether the statement is very true, somewhat true, not true, or don't know whether it's true of us at the moment. And after they finish those questions, they would submit to enter their responses.